Hey, do you know anything about Hong Kong?
You're too young to know about those stuff.
Why? Please.
Okay, fine. This all started in the Opium War. China had traded with other countries before, but they restricted foreign trade and had high taxes. Hey China, do you want to trade? Don't be so picky about taxes and foreign trade. Sorry, not interested. How can I make them trade with us? Hey, Chinese people, do you want some of this marvelous opium? It'll make you feel happy. Just don't tell your government and we'll sell you a lot of these. Soon, many of the people in China were addicted to opium and China was forced to trade with the British. This made China mad and led to the Opium War. Eventually, in August 1860, Britain won and they signed the Beijing Convention that made Hong Kong Britain's territory for 99 years. What should we do? We have to find something to increase our economy. We don't have resources, we don't have land, we don't even have much water supplies. We surely can't produce on our own. I know, the only way we can survive is to trade with other countries. We will use export-oriented. Export-oriented is a type of method that a country uses for their economy. Most of its economy is from exporting goods to other countries. Right after Hong Kong was turned into a British colony, they were gaining more money by trading. Britain opened more ports to trade with others, and with the ideal location Hong Kong had, it became a trading center with a stable government, the rule of law, low taxes, and a minimum of interference. Hong Kong grew significantly in many ways. Their culture changed, and education, economy were much better while mainland China wasn't improving much. Then, in 1861, the American Civil War began. Don't bother us, we can't export textiles whatsoever. What should we do? We relied on America for textile trades. Hey guys, I can export textiles. Textiles straight from China and India. Don't you need these? Yes, we need textiles. Let's trade more often. I think Hong Kong is going to be a wealthy country. Let's fund them. Just like that, Hong Kong began to make more money by trading and finance. Therefore, Hong Kong started to get rich and rich and rich. But this didn't last long. Besides the trading and finance, Hong Kong was benefiting from people going to Europe and working as immigrant workers called coolie. However, I'll just let you see what happened during the 1880s. Colored people are different from white people like us. Colored people are inferior to us, and that includes you guys, coolie. From now on, we're going to restrict foreign immigrants to our country. We don't like colored people. Where do you work then? We finished the railroad for you. We face disadvantages such as low income and dangerous work. I don't care. You guys are a disgrace to America. Don't come here. Pretty uncomfortable, I know. But things were just getting worse for Hong Kong. From 1941 to 1945, after World War II, Hong Kong was shortly ruled by Japan and was returned to Britain in 1946. After being free from Japan, Hong Kong's economy wasn't rising. Let's see what happened. We're going to be a communist country. I'm sorry, not really, but we can't trade with you guys now. You're all about democracy and we're communist. Wait, what? You're like this whole continent full of goods. What are we supposed to do if you guys don't trade with us? We literally live by trading. not my problem. Not only China turned to a communist country, but there was a Korean War going on from 1950, and as China was helping North Korea, Hong Kong had lost China as a trading partner. Now, Hong Kong wasn't the gateway to China, but an island on the edge of China. Because of this, the export amount between 1951 to 1955 decreased to almost 40% of the original amount. On the bright side, a lot of wealthy refugees that ran away from China settled in Hong Kong, and this led to an increase of economic status and technology as there were many fiber factory owners that came to Hong Kong. Hong Kong slowly started to regain its economic power and started foreign exports. Because most of the citizens were poor and many of them were refugees, they would mostly work hard on anything. Let's see. Let's give more attention to the secondary industry. Why don't we focus on textiles? Hi Hong Kong, we're going to make textiles too. What? No, I don't want to compete with you. I'll just focus on the electronic industry. Just like that, Hong Kong started to focus on electronic devices and continued with their trading. Until the early 1970s, Hong Kong's economy grew significantly, increasing 8 to 9% every year. However, the oil shock, which is an incident when the price of oil went up significantly, harmed Hong Kong like a lot of countries worldwide. Also, Korea had developed electronics significantly that Hong Kong couldn't keep up with South Korea. After failing in the electronic industry, in the 1980s, Hong Kong focused back on exporting and trading. On July 1st, 1997, after 156 years of colonization in Britain, Hong Kong came back to China. Oh no, what should we do? China is going to destroy our capitalism. Don't worry, we won't touch your precious capitalism for the next 50 years. Okay, it's a good thing, I guess. We will call this one country, two systems. So eventually, Hong Kong was promised to gain its freedom until 2047. Even though China declared one country, two systems, a lot of wealthy citizens immigrated to foreign countries fearing that they will be ruled over communism. Because of this, the GDP per capita significantly fell after 1997. Making matters worse, the Asian financial crisis occurred at a similar period. For a few years, Hong Kong had a recession. However, Hong Kong overcame that problem as China became one of the biggest factories in the world and now is the top 42 in the best economy in the world. Hong Kong is surely a developed country. It is considered as one of the Asian tigers, and the IMR has decreased to 1.5 in 2018. Also, the HDI is 0.939, which is a quite high number as the biggest number in HDI is 1. Oh, okay. Then industrialization is good. There are no bad things about it. No, there were a lot of pros and cons to Hong Kong's industrialization too. Here, I'll start with the positive changes. Firstly, Hong Kong was just a huge economic success. Starting off as a small fishing town, it became a very wealthy country, which has similar GDPs with the countries in Europe. Because of this, their quality of life increased. Secondly, as their industrialization was based on the colonization by England, they established a democratic political system that has much more freedom than mainland China. Now, the depressing part. Firstly, there is a huge gap between the rich and the poor. In 2016, Hong Kong had 0.539 of Gini coefficient, which was the world's second most unequal country in the world. They have high prices and the poor people of Hong Kong are suffering severely. To go deeper into this problem, the reason behind this comes from back in around the 1950s when the people were desperate for money and did any job that gave them what they need. The people were mostly individualists, so it was hard to protest about the low income they were receiving. As a result, the minimum wage didn't rise a lot, so this caused a huge wage gap until now. Moving on, another negative effect. Remember I said that one of the positive things about industrialization was that they had democracy? Well, because of that, Hong Kong is having trouble shifting back to communism in 2047, the year China is hoping Hong Kong will be one of China. Wait, what about the protests? Oh, that's a very complex political story. To explain simply, China is trying to break the promise that they will let Hong Kong have democracy for 50 more years. There are several acts China made, such as arresting anti-communists in Hong Kong and disappearing bestseller writers, which was taking away people's freedom of speech. People had protested in these too, but this protest was the biggest so far, which citizens were protesting about the unpopular bill, which would have allowed extraditions to mainland China, also known as the extradition bill. This is what you saw in the video.
What did the government do during the industrialization? Isn't the government supposed to help people?
Well, the Hong Kong industrialization really wasn't about the government. It was about the people who made the economy boom. The colonization was somewhat government related as they lost the war to Britain. But when Hong Kong started to have similar GDP per capita with Europe, it was because a lot of factory owners from China came to Hong Kong because China turned into communism and people are just desperate for money and worked super hard.
Then what do you think is the most important event for the industrialization?
Well, I think the most important event was when Britain conquered Hong Kong. Without being a British colony, Hong Kong never would have been independent and would follow China's rule as a communist country. Even though China is now an NIC, it is still behind Hong Kong, which has a strong economy based on trade. Currently, because China has Hong Kong back and trying to take over its political power, and the people are protesting about the fact that it's harming Hong Kong and interfering with their democracy is just messed up.
Sally, then what do you think will happen to Hong Kong in a political side in 2047?
Good question. To be honest, nobody really knows. But according to Jia Yonglo, a writer and a policy advisor, China would do its best to treat Hong Kong as the same as other regions in China, and they are already starting to do so. China has no interest in changing its political status, and Hong Kong has no interest either. In Lo's opinion, even though China is benefiting hugely by Hong Kong, they would have to let Hong Kong strengthen its credibility by itself as a global player committed to international trade and the rule-based order. So basically, he's saying that China should give up and let Hong Kong do its thing.
Okay, thanks Sally, bye!
No problem. Now bye, I'm busy.